It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films released on September 18th, 2009, on what was a pretty damn good week for movies. 3 out of the 4 movies we're going to look at today are really good movies, and then there's one where not so much. But let's get to the good stuff. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and easily my favorite movie of the entire weekend. One of the best movies that came out that year, and that is, of course, Phil Lord and Chris Miller's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Flint Lockwood's inventions were always
hair on Balder!
a little odd.
Why can't you be more like my son Cal?
Sup? But on September 18th,
Conversion of water
into food. Get ready to get served.
It really works!
Can you make it rain food again, please?
Mamma mia. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
No, school!
In 3D and IMAX 3D. Rated PG.
So Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is based off of a children's book, which really is not really based off the book. I mean, the book is not really all that big overall and doesn't really have all the stuff that's in this movie. But you have the story where you have a young inventor named Flint Lockwood, voiced by Bill Hader, who invents a machine that turns water into food. And after having it accidentally fly into the sky, the town of Swallow Falls, which is a sardine-filled town, starts to have food falling from the sky, and the mayor of the town, voiced brilliantly well by Bruce Campbell, asks Flint to make more food and make it bigger, leading the town into chaos and creating essentially a disaster movie with food for a kids' film. And you have an all-star cast that also includes Anna Faris, James Caan and Lauren Graham, Andy Samberg, Neil Patrick Harris, Mr. T, and Bobby J. Thompson. I gotta say, man, they did a great job with the casting in this movie. I mean, I couldn't believe how good a lot of the casting was in this movie. Everybody plays their parts very well. The one person that comes out of this movie and you really think to yourself, wow, I did not think I would ever get a really good, strong performance unlike what we used to see from this guy. And that is, of all people, Mr. T. You see Mr. T in a movie, you expect him to be like, I pity the fool. You're supposed to expect him to be B.A. Baracus. That's a horrible impression of Mr. T right there. But I'm trying to speed this along here. But you expect him to be like B.A. Baracus from the A-Team. You expect him to be the guy from Rocky 3. And it definitely sounds like him, but the performance is much more restrained. And it does make a whole lot of sense for the story in general and him to be in there. Like, it's a more restrained performance overall, and it really does work very well. Like I said, the performances overall here are great. One that kind of gets overlooked is James Caan, who plays the father of Flint, and I like his performance in here because he has a hard time trying to connect with his son. They speak on different wavelengths. Like, he's an old man, he's a young guy, and any family out there can have that, where your dad is clearly stuck in a different generation and you're in a newer generation. I mean, my dad and I do that sometimes, but it's really fun to see him in this movie. And it's, again, a more restrained James Caan performance in here that he really does give it his all. It kind of gets overlooked because everybody else in the movie is just so well casted in here. Bill Hader and Anna Faris just work off each other so well in this movie. But really, this was an awakening for Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who before this had been known for their work on television, stuff like How I Met Your Mother, Scrubs, and of course their magnum opus at the time, Clone High, which went on to have a cult following after lasting only a season on MTV. But this was the movie that essentially woke everybody up and made them realize that, hey, these guys actually are really funny. We should let them do more stuff. And thus, the Jump Street movies came out, the Lego movie, the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movies, Into the Spider-Verse, whichever ones you want to go with. They're both great movies, but they became the it filmmakers of their time, the it comedy filmmakers, because every time they made a movie, they just knocked it out of the park. And yeah, these are great talent, and they're putting it all into this movie that really they don't really need to do it, but man, it just works so well. And it also puts Sony Pictures Animation on the map too, because Open Season and Surf's Up had come out. Yeah, Surf's Up got an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature, but this was their first massive hit, and proving that they could make it as their own animation studio. And slowly but surely, they started making more and more movies, and most of them were pretty good, with a couple of exceptions. The Smurfs movies, the Emoji Movie, but then they made Arthur Christmas, which was great. And then, of course, they made the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse movies. But yeah, you get the idea. But you get the idea that Sony Pictures Animation, this was the movie that really turned them around and made them a force to be reckoned with, to be up there with some of the best animated studios out there. I mean, just not much more I can really say about this movie, because it's just such a funny movie. I laugh every time I see it. I watch it so many times. I've watched it on several occasions over one day. Like, it's that kind of a movie where I just can't help but watch it and just fall in love with it every single time. It's hilarious. It's well done. The animation is great. The comedy is top-notch. This is a great, great movie. What more do I gotta say? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a terrific, terrific film. So that's easily the big hit of the weekend. Now let's get to a film that wasn't quite the big hit overall, but still pretty good. Matt Damon in The Informant.
Director of Oceans 11, 12, and 13 comes the movie critics are calling irreverent and ridiculously entertaining.
Yes.
One of the year's best films.
Would you be willing to wear a wire?
I am approaching the entrance to the office.
You don't really need to narrate the tapes. Not a problem.
It's clever, original, and very funny. Matt Damon is terrific.
Oh, yeah, it was good, right?
The Informant is a complete blast.
What is he doing? I told him the camera was in a lamp. No.
The Informant, rated R. In theaters everywhere September 18th.
You might as well just say from the director of the Oceans trilogy. I don't know why they had to say the director of Oceans 11, 12, and 13. It's just like no other Oceans 11 movies came out without him involved in it. Just say the Oceans trilogy, for God's sakes. But anyway, this is The Informant, which is a film based off of a nonfiction book of the same name by Kurt Eichenwald, and it follows Matt Damon as the titular informant, as well as Scott Bakula, Joel McHale, and Melanie Linsky, and it stars Damon as it depicts Whitaker's involvement as a whistleblower in his Lyceum price-fixing conspiracy of the mid-1990s, the Lyceum price-fixing conspiracy of the mid-1990s, and his embezzlement of millions of dollars from his employee. And it's just not... Excuse me. And it's another really good Steven Soderbergh movie. I mean, it's a film that doesn't really get much attention overall. It was a hit when it came out, but kind of like with some other movies we've looked at, it was a hit, but then it just kind of disappeared. Like, for some reason, it didn't really have the zeitgeist or the lasting power like some of his other movies, Soderbergh's other movies, or especially Matt Damon movies. But really, everything about this movie works. It's a very funny movie. Matt Damon is playing a very different kind of role than we're used to seeing him. He's not the big action star anymore that is in this movie. Like, we'll get him back in that later on down the road with Green Zone coming up in 2010. But in here, he's playing it very straightforward, and he's very funny in here. The comedy in here is really good. He's got a great cast around him. Like I said, Scott Bakula, Joel McHale, Melanie Linsky, Ann Dowd, Tom Wilson, Tom Papa, Rick Overton, Patton Oswalt, Scott Adsit, Clancy Brown, Arna Marine, Tony Hale, Andy Daly, Frank Welker. I mean, the Smothers Brothers, Richard Stephen Horvitz. They grabbed a huge assortment of not just comedic actors, but voice actors too to be in this. It just works, man. It just is a very funny, silly, over-the-top comedy, and it just really works so well. And it really is one of Matt Damon's most, not just Matt Damon, but one of Steven Soderbergh's most underrated movies. It's a film that came and went, didn't really leave much of a lasting impact with most people, but it's a really funny movie, man. It's one you should definitely check out, because it definitely deserves a little bit more reappraisal nowadays. But yeah, it's a great movie. One I'd highly recommend checking out, The Informant. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to that one movie that really, really doesn't work. And it's Jennifer Aniston and Aaron Eckhart in Love Hurts.
Frank and I were working last night.
Frank wears lipstick?
Eloise can handle anything but her love life.
I'm feeling okay. How are you?
Kurt can help everyone but himself.
What motivated the bug?
My wife died 3 years ago. Would you like to have a cup of coffee?
Love can happen
My life is an experiment in really bad decisions.
when you least expect it.
Give me a chance. Will you do that for me?
Yes, she would.
Love happens.
As soon as I stopped recording, I realized I said the wrong title. I said Love Hurts, but no. That's a terrible movie that came out in 2025 as of the time of recording this, but no. As you see, the title is Love Happens. And you know what doesn't happen? A good movie here, because this is a story where you have a therapist played by Aaron Eckhart and a self-help author, being enamored by a florist played by Jennifer Aniston. And, it's Bed of Roses all over again. Just replace Christian Slater and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio with Jennifer Aniston and Aaron Eckhart. And this was a notable movie for Jennifer Aniston, because this was kind of the movie that began her kind of downfall as the leading lady in a movie. Like, she was supposed to be the next Julia Roberts, because, you know, she left, his Friends had ended, she was just in Bruce Almighty, and then all of a sudden everyone was waiting for her to have that Julia Roberts-esque jump as to, like, the next big leading female star. And she had successes with stuff like Along Came Polly, and even in movies that weren't box office successes, but were still good movies, like Derailed, what was the other one? Rumor Has It, Friends with Money. And then she started taking these really bad movies, and there were some really bad movies, and one of them we're going to get to next is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. We'll get to that one in 2010, but this is a movie where she and Aaron Eckhart are just half-assing it, and it's just not enjoyable whatsoever. And I can't buy the chemistry between the two overall, and it's just such a waste of time and a waste of patience. And like I said, it's literally the same plot as Bed of Roses, except not as sappy as that movie was, because that was a sappy movie. But this, there's literally nothing of value or anything intelligent or creative to it. And it's funny, because when this movie was coming out, two writers claiming that the film's premise was stolen from them filed a lawsuit, and they wanted $100 million that, you know, they wanted an injunction against its release or to be awarded the film's future profits, which... You really thought that this was going to make any money? I mean, okay, technically it did double its budget when you count in worldwide numbers, but you don't remember this movie. Why are you going to sue if they say that you were involved in this movie when everyone's going to look at this and think to themselves, wow, this is like Bed of Roses or a million other melodramatic romantic dramas I've seen that just aren't working. This isn't a good movie, man. It's just such a waste of really good talent all across the board here. I mean, not just Aaron Eckhart and Jennifer Aniston, but you have Francis Conroy, Martin Sheen, Judy Greer, Dan Fogler, John Carroll Lynch. Good talent all across the board in this movie. And it's a waste. It's just a complete waste of time and patience and just talent all across the board. It's just like, it's not a good movie, man. Love happens in real life, but not a good movie here. I'll just go with that. But anyway, let's get back to the good movies again. Let's wrap it up with a movie that, you know, how much do I love this next movie?
Going out tonight. Wear something cute, okay?
You always do what Jennifer tells you to do.
It's just that I like the same things that she likes.
Hey, Jennifer. You look really pretty.
Why don't you just come by my place? Well, it's random.
This isn't really your house, is it?
We can play Mommy and Daddy.
No way.
We always share your bed when we have slumber parties. Jennifer's evil.
I know.
No, I mean, she's actually evil. Not high school evil. Chip is looking really cute to me lately. How is he tasting these days? You are never a good friend. You could have anybody that you want. Hi, Chip. You're killing people. No, I'm killing boys. Are you scared? Thought you only murdered boys. I go both ways. I will finish you if I have to. Okay. You can barely finish gym class.
Yeah, that's how much I love Jennifer's Body. I actually got this at a Comic-Con. I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think it was just the first Comic-Con when everything was opening back up against COVID. But this was actually at a table that's next to our table from Leo Ghost. There's their website right there for the stuff that she did. I guess it was. I think it's a girl that does this. I don't know. It's been a while since I've actually seen an update from her, but there's the card right there if you want to go check it out. But yeah, I saw this there, and it's just like I had to get my hands on this. Like, as you can tell, it's a skateboard, but it's the Jennifer's Body. It's the scene where, of course, where Megan Fox lights the lighter under her tongue. And not only do I have that, but where's the sticker at? I got it in sticker form too. That's how much. is, I mean, in addition to the steelbook and the DVD, you can just tell that I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Of course, this is the story about Megan Fox, who plays a demonically possessed high school student who kills her male classmates and devours their flesh in order to survive, with her bookworm best friend Anita, played by Amanda Seyfried, having to find a way to end her killing spree. And what a great movie, man. This was a movie that really was one of those films that came out and just, you know, kind of came and went. Because, I mean, even though there was a whole lot of high anticipation because of just how, you know, this is Diablo Cody's first major film that she had done after writing the script for Juno, which won her the Academy Award. I mean, this was produced by Jason Reitman. This was directed by Karen Kusama, who did Aeon Flux before this, which wasn't a great movie overall, but, you know, this is the same person that also did Girl Fight, too. I mean, this was a good director, and this is just such a fun, silly, over-the-top, very well-done horror comedy that just reminds you so much of the great 80s, 90s horror comedies. And it's a movie that basically showed that, hey, Megan Fox can be very good in the movie. Because, yeah, she sells this role big time. Her and Amanda Seyfried work off each other so well. And, I mean, how are you going to say no to a movie where they actually kiss? I mean, come on. I mean, in fact, Amanda Seyfried been doing a lot of lesbian kissing around this time. Wait till we get to the movie Chloe, where she literally has sex with Julianne Moore. And yeah, that happened in the same year this came out. I mean, she was really trying to branch away from Mean Girls overall. It's just like, and more power to her, man. But I mean, of course, this is a 20-year-old person. This was somebody who was 20 years old saying, "Yeah, more power to you. You go ahead and do it." But besides all that, this is a really damn good movie. This is a really funny movie. It's a very silly movie. It has an incredible cast. It also includes J.K. Simmons, Amy Sedaris, Adrian Brody, Patrick Starfish, Bill Fagabach from SpongeBob and Coach is in here too, in a very, very funny role that has gone on to have a lasting legacy to it, kind of like a meme. But the movie is just really, really damn good. I mean, it's a really funny movie. It's a really well-made film. It can be at times scary too, but it's just like, it's a good fun horror comedy. We won't get in these type of movies around this time, and it's just like, and even Jason Reitman, the producer on this, said he wanted to make unusual films, and this is certainly a very unusual film that just works. And yeah, it may have not been the hit it was at the time, but it has gone on to have a lot of reappraisal saying that, yeah, this is actually very much worth it in the end. And yeah, it reminded me, movies like this are why I loved the movie like Lisa Frankenstein last year. I thought it was a very fun homage to classic 80s, 90s horror comedies. And this is definitely one of those movies that does just that. It's just such a terrific film. I enjoy the hell out of it. I mean, this pretty much says it all right there. Like, that's how much I enjoy this movie right here. I have this, and this as well. But yeah. So yeah, what more can you say, man? Jennifer's Body is pretty friggin' awesome. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth it. And so, on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll take a look at the films that wrap up September, including a new film with Bruce Willis from director Jonathan Mostow, Surrogates. We have the remake of Fame, which was basically made because Glee was becoming a success and Step Up. We have Pandorum, which was a lackluster movie that came and went. We also have Capitalism, a Love Story, the Michael Moore film, and a certain little movie called Paranormal Activity that, at the time, nobody really expected it to be anything that special, but little did we know that was going to be the next big horror movie that was going to take up the next 6 years' worth of new releases around Halloween. But we'll definitely delve into that, along with the other movies I mentioned, coming up tomorrow on the show, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification button, and the bell. That's where you get updates on new videos when they come out. And we do post new videos here every day. So with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time. And until then, as always, take care.